Her heels clicked on the pavement as she stumbled through the rain, mascara running, soaked to the bone. I hadn't seen her face in 2 years, but I'd know that arrogant little smirk anywhere. And now? That same mouth was trembling, eyes bloodshot, voice barely a whisper. "Nick, please. Just hear me out. Jessica, my wife. The woman who dumped our marriage for a rooftop party with bottle service and a DJ named Blaze. And now she was on my doorstep, crying, begging for what, exactly? Forgiveness? Shelter? A rewind button?" I should have slammed the door. I didn't. Because I needed to know. Why now? Why, after ghosting her like she never existed, was she suddenly back in my life? She had no idea I already knew the truth. No idea I had seen the photos. No idea I had spoken to her best friend. No idea I had watched the betrayal unfold. But now that she was here, dripping guilt all over my welcome mat, I decided I'd let her speak. Just long enough to tear her perfect little lies apart. This is the story of how she chose a party over me, how I walked away without a word, and what happened when she came crawling back. 2 years earlier, everything had been calm on the surface, but I could feel the cracks forming underneath. Jessica had changed. At first, it was subtle. A new group of friends. A sudden obsession with nightlife. She started saying things like, "I need to feel young again," or "You don't have to wait up for me." I'd laugh it off, thinking maybe this was a phase. I figured every marriage hit weird patches. But then the excuses started. "Sorry, my phone died." "Blaze? Oh, he's just a promoter. We were just hanging out. Nothing happened." "Yeah, right." I still remember the night. I had planned a dinner, nothing crazy, just takeout and candles at home, trying to reconnect. She told me she had a work thing. I didn't push, but something gnawed at me. So I texted her friend Rachel, just a casual, "Hey, is Jess with you tonight?" No answer. Then came the photo. I wasn't even looking for it, just scrolling mindlessly on Instagram when a mutual acquaintance posted a story from a rooftop party downtown. Flashing lights, loud music, and right in the middle of it, Jessica, my wife, in a dress I hadn't seen before, sitting on some guy's lap, laughing, her hand on his chest. I paused the video, rewatched it. There was no mistaking it. That wasn't dancing. That wasn't just hanging out. That was disrespect. Blatant, proud, public. My hand went numb around my phone. My stomach dropped like an elevator cut loose. I sat in that quiet apartment with dinner growing cold on the table and my heart turning into a brick. I didn't call her. I didn't scream or rage. Instead, I packed a bag. I left my wedding ring on the table beside the untouched food and walked out. That night, I slept in a cheap motel off I-90. I stared at the ceiling till sunrise, my mind racing through every lie she'd ever told me, every excuse I'd swallowed like a fool. The truth settled in like acid in my chest. She'd been slipping away for months, and I had let her. The next morning, I disappeared. I ghosted her, blocked her on everything, told my employer I needed a remote transfer, moved to Austin within weeks. No notes, no warnings, no closure. She wanted freedom? She got it. But freedom has a price. And now, 2 years later, here she was, standing on my porch, acting like the past could be wiped clean with an apology. As the rain poured down and she stared at me with those glassy, begging eyes, I said nothing. I just studied her, looking for even a flicker of guilt or shame. But deep down, I knew Jessica. She didn't come here out of remorse. She came because something blew up. And I was about to find out what. Because when her phone buzzed again, and she turned it face down like I hadn't noticed, I realized this visit wasn't just emotional. It was strategic. She was hiding something. And I wasn't about to be played again. "Who's calling you?" I asked, eyes fixed on the screen she tried to hide. Jessica's eyes flicked up. Guilty. Hesitant. Then she did that thing, tilted her head, softened her voice, tried to play innocent. "It's nothing. Just an old friend checking in." I stepped forward. "Then show me." She froze. I already knew I had her. The woman who once left me in a cloud of perfume and betrayal was now standing on my porch, trying to downplay what was clearly panic in her chest. She didn't answer. Just stood there, squeezing her phone so tight I thought it might crack. "Give me the phone, Jessica." Still nothing. I didn't need to see the name. Her silence screamed louder than any ringtone. "You came here," I said, voice cold, steady, "because something's chasing you. And it sure as hell isn't guilt." Jessica's hands trembled. Finally, she handed over the phone. One message. "Blaze, what the hell did you tell him? Call me now." I couldn't believe it. Blaze. The same clown from the rooftop party. The guy who, 2 years ago, had his hands all over my wife like she was his latest prize. I assumed he was just a one-night mistake, someone she used to hurt me, because that's what it felt like. A weapon. But now? Now he was still in the picture? You're still talking to him? I barked. She shook her head, too fast, too desperate. No, no. It's not what it looks like. I swear, I cut things off with him a long time ago. He's obsessed, Nick. He won't leave me alone. I couldn't help it. I laughed, bitter and loud. Obsessed? You disappeared into his world and now you're shocked he's still around? You're not the victim here, Jess. She flinched. I didn't know he'd get like this. I made a mistake. Mistake. I snapped. You made dozens. Don't try to wrap this in a bow and call it one bad choice. You torched our marriage, Jessica. Tears welled in her eyes. But I'd seen that performance before. Please, Nick. I came here because I have no one else. He's been threatening me. My gut twisted. Not out of pity, out of fury. Fury at her. At him. At myself, for still feeling anything at all. Why? I asked sharply. What does he want? She hesitated, then looked away. I owe him money. Of course. Of course it wasn't just about feelings, it was always something messier. Dirtier. How much? 10 grand, she said quietly. I borrowed it from him after you left. I was trying to start over. It got out of hand. I stared at her. You want me to bail you out? No, she shouted. I mean, yes, but not just that. I wanted to see you. I wanted to fix things. I thought maybe, if we could talk. I raised my hand. Stop. You didn't come here to fix anything. You came because the mess you made finally caught up to you, and now you think I'm your emergency exit. She tried to grab my hand. Nick, please. I pulled away, and then I asked the one question that had been burning since she showed up. Did you sleep with him? Silence. Long crushing. Telling. Yes, she said finally, barely audible. But it didn't mean anything. That line. That cheap, recycled garbage line. I nodded slowly. My chest was tight, but my mind was clear. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. It was about clarity. I opened the door wider, not to let her in, but to give her one last warning. You've got 5 minutes to tell me everything. Because after tonight, Jessica, there's no coming back. Jessica stepped inside slowly, dripping water onto my floor like she was walking into a courtroom, not a home. Her once confident stride was gone. Now she moved like someone carrying the weight of too many lies. I closed the door behind her, not to offer warmth, but to trap the truth between these four walls. She sat down at the edge of the couch, hands clenched, staring at the floor. Start talking, I said, crossing my arms. She took a deep breath. It didn't start with Blaze, she said. I know you think he was the only one, but he wasn't. Just like that, my jaw locked. My heart didn't just sink, it crashed. You're telling me there were others? She nodded. Three men while we were married. While I was working double shifts to pay off our mortgage. While I was planning a future for us. I couldn't speak. I walked across the room and leaned against the wall, fist clenched so hard my knuckles went white. Why? I finally managed. Was I that boring to you? She looked up, and for the first time, there was no manipulation in her face, just ugly, exposed selfishness. I don't know, she said. You were safe, stable, and I hated it. I hated how predictable everything felt. I felt trapped. I wanted more attention, excitement, fun. Those guys gave me that. You gave me routine. I laughed bitterly. You wanted excitement, so you blew up your own life? That's rich. She snapped suddenly, her voice rising. You don't get it. You were always working, always tired, always making plans instead of memories. I needed to feel alive again. I stared at her like she was a stranger, which, by now, she was. So you chose parties over partnership. Thrills over trust. D***K over devotion. Her face twisted. Don't act like you were some perfect husband. I stepped forward. No, I wasn't perfect. But I was loyal. I showed up. I stayed. I gave you everything I had, and you spat on it like it wasn't enough. She looked away. And then I asked the question I didn't want the answer to. Did you ever love me? Her mouth opened, then closed. She hesitated. And that was answer enough. I nodded slowly. Got it. I thought I did, she whispered. In the beginning. But maybe I just loved the idea of you. That hit harder than all the rest. Silence filled the room. Thunder cracked outside. And I felt like I just sat through a slow-motion car crash. Jessica broke the silence. Look, I know I messed up, but I've been through hell since you left. Blaze got possessive, controlling. He threatened to leak stuff, photos, messages. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think. I came here because I didn't know where else to go. Not my problem anymore, I said flatly. She stood up. I didn't come for money. I came because I realized you were the only one who ever treated me like I mattered. I shook my head. You mattered. You just didn't care. She walked closer, lowered her voice. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I don't know. I guess I hope part of you still remembered who I used to be. I looked her in the eyes. I do. And that's why I'm not letting that version of you back in. She's gone. She stood there for a long moment. Then she whispered, so that's it. No, I said. That's just the beginning. Because if she thought this was the worst part, she had no idea what was coming next. Jessica was still standing in the middle of my living room, staring at me like I had just carved her open. But I didn't flinch. I was done bleeding for her. Whatever sympathy had flared up at the sight of her drenched and shaking on my doorstep, it was gone. Replaced by the ice-cold resolve I'd been cultivating for 2 long, silent years. I walked over to my desk, unlocked the drawer, and pulled out a flash drive. Her eyes followed it like it was a ticking bomb. I wasn't completely in the dark, Jess, I said, holding it up. You think I just moved on and forgot? No. I started digging a year after I left. For closure. For clarity. For sanity. She blinked. What's on that? A gift, I said. From your old friend Rachel. Jessica's face turned pale. She felt guilty, I continued. Said she'd been covering for you for months before the party. Said she saw what you did, who you were with, how many times it happened. Then one night, after a few drinks, she sent me this. I slid the flash drive into my laptop, turned the screen toward her, and hit play. The screen lit up with a video from a bar, dim lighting, loud music, shaky camera. But clear enough. Jessica, sitting on a guy's lap, laughing into his ear. Then another clip. Different guy. Different place. Her hands roaming, lips pressed. And another. Blaze. A hotel room selfie. The same dress she wore the night of the rooftop party. She gasped. Covered her mouth. I didn't even blink. This is who you became, I said coldly. This is what our marriage meant to you. Her legs gave out, and she dropped onto the couch like the weight of her lies finally hit her spine. I didn't know she recorded all that, she whispered. You shouldn't have given her something to record. Jessica buried her face in her hands. I was stupid. I didn't think I'd lose everything. You didn't lose everything, I said. You threw it away. I let the silence linger like smoke after a house fire. You came here thinking I was your backup plan, I added. That after all this time, I'd still be soft enough to fix your mess. But this mess is yours to own. She looked up. So what now? You want revenge? I stared at her, then said, no, I want peace. And that starts with truth. All of it. Her eyes darted to the door. I already told you everything. I narrowed mine. No, you didn't. Who else has Blaze been sending those threats to? She froze. I stepped forward. He's not just coming after you, is he? Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. She looked like a deer in headlights. Then finally, my boss. My fists clenched. Your boss. I got desperate, she said quickly. After we split, I couldn't afford rent. Blaze offered help, but then he wanted more. I told him I was seeing someone new. I thought if he believed I moved on, he'd leave me alone. So you used your boss. She nodded shamefully. Blaze found out. Said he'd ruin me. I shook my head. You used people like pawns, Jess. And now it's all crashing down. She stood again, tried to take my hand. Nick, I'm not asking you to save me. Just help me get out of this alive. I pulled my hand away. Then start talking. I want names, dates, screenshots, everything. Because this wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was blackmail. And I wasn't about to let this woman drag me back into hell without taking the devil down with her. Jessica hesitated for a second too long, and I saw it. That flicker of calculation behind her eyes. Even now, even standing in the ruins of her own lies, she was still thinking about how to spin it. But I wasn't the same man she used to know. Not anymore. Don't lie to me, I warned. If you're dragging me into this, I need the truth. All of it. Right now. She nodded slowly. His real name's Derek White. Blaze was just his scene name. He runs underground clubs, illegal gambling, and he's connected to people that you don't want to mess with. I raised a brow. And you were dating him? No, she snapped. I thought I was just partying with him. But he had leverage, photos, videos. Stuff he threatened to leak if I ever crossed him. I stared her down. You crossed him anyway? She looked away. I met my boss, Caleb, at an art show. He was nice, genuinely kind. I told Blaze I was done with his scene, that I was starting fresh. He laughed in my face. And now Caleb's involved. Jessica nodded. Blaze sent Caleb a flash drive. It had pictures of me and Blaze from a hotel room. Stuff I didn't even know he took. Caleb suspended me. He thinks I lied to him. That I'm a con artist. You are, I muttered under my breath. She winced. So why come to me? I pressed. Why not go to the police? She let out a hollow laugh. You really think I didn't try? They brushed me off. No hard evidence, no physical threats, just messages that could be interpreted as heated breakup talk. I grabbed my phone and opened a blank note. Tell me everything you've got. Screenshots, texts, voicemails. She looked surprised. You're helping me? No, I said sharply. I'm protecting myself. If this guy comes knocking, I want to know exactly what I'm dealing with. Because make no mistake, Jess, you are not my problem anymore. You're a liability. She didn't argue. Instead, she started forwarding every message, every file she had from Blaze. Dozens of screenshots lit up my phone, threats, manipulation, and one video I didn't expect. A hidden recording. It was Blaze talking to someone on a phone, pacing a hotel room. She thinks she can run to her ex? Let her. I've got stuff on him too. One wrong move, and I torch both of them. I'll bury that boy. I paused the video. My jaw clenched. What the hell is this? I asked, shoving the phone in her face. Jessica looked panicked. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't think he'd come after you. I thought he was just blowing smoke. Why would he have anything on me? I don't know, she cried. Maybe because I mentioned you once, how clean you were, how you just disappeared. He must have thought you were hiding something. I turned away, pacing the room. This wasn't just her problem anymore. Now I was in it. And Blaze was playing a dangerous game. You know what this means? I said, staring out the rain-soaked window. This isn't just revenge or blackmail anymore. This is leverage. He wants control, and you're not the only pawn. Jessica was silent. I turned back to her. I need to talk to Caleb. If Blaze is coming after both of us, we need to cut him off before he pulls us under. She stepped closer. Nick. I'm scared. Good, I said. Because scared people stop lying. Scared people finally tell the truth. She looked like she wanted to say something else, but I shut it down with a look. Pack your things, I ordered. You're not staying here. I'll get you a hotel for the night. But after that, you're on your own. She nodded. And as she walked out of the room, I picked up my phone. Because if Blaze wanted a war, he was about to get one. That night, I didn't sleep. I didn't even try. I sat in my kitchen, one hand wrapped around a black coffee, the other scrolling through every piece of dirt Jessica had given me on Blaze, real name Derek White. The deeper I dug, the sicker I felt. This guy wasn't just some sleazy party promoter. He was poison, manipulative, dangerous. He had leverage on more people than just Jessica. Women, clients, business owners. I found 3 anonymous Reddit threads describing a man who fit his profile perfectly, drugging women, filming them without consent, then using the footage to extort them into silence or favors. The law couldn't pin him because the victims were either scared, bought off, or disappeared. This wasn't just about Jessica anymore. He had threatened me, a man who'd walked away from everything and wanted no part of her world. And that made this personal. I didn't call the cops. I knew better. Derek played in shadows, and cops operated under rules he didn't respect. If I was going to stop him, I had to get ahead of him. So I made a call. Matt, I said when he picked up. I need a favor. Matt Jennings was an old friend from college, now a cybersecurity analyst with a side hustle helping people track down scams, frauds, and digital ghosts. The kind of guy who knew how to find needles in haystacks and do it quietly. I explained everything. No emotion. No drama. Just facts. He whistled when I was done. Dude, this is serious. If this guy's got blackmail chains and dirt on half the city, you're swimming with sharks. I'm not swimming, I said. I'm draining the pool. That was in. Within an hour, he found a digital trail, encrypted folders, and Derek's cloud storage linked to burner accounts. Some names we didn't recognize. Others we did. One of them? Caleb Turner. Jessica's boss. And another? My name. Looks like your ex told him more than she remembers, Matt muttered. Or she thought pillow talk was harmless. What kind of files? Audio. Mostly. Conversations from your old apartment must have bugged her phone. One video file titled Nick Leverage. Want me to crack it? My stomach dropped. Do it. A few minutes later, Matt sent it to me. I clicked play. It was a screen recording Jessica in bed, on the phone, talking about me, laughing. Nick doesn't know anything. He still thinks I was just at a girls' night. Poor guy. If he ever found out what I really did with you that night, he'd break. My hands tightened into fists. That was the night I brought her roses. The night I cooked dinner from scratch. The night I thought we'd start over. She was in a hotel room with Blaze the entire time, mocking me. I didn't realize I was shaking until I knocked the coffee cup over. Matt, I said, voice low. Send this video to Caleb Turner anonymously. Tell him Blaze is running a blackmail ring and Jessica is a pawn. You sure? This could blow up everything. Exactly. I hung up. It was time to turn the tables. I had been the broken husband, the ghost, the fool in the background, but not anymore. Now, I was the threat. The next morning came fast and cold. I didn't sleep again. I didn't need rest. I needed resolution. I checked my phone. Matt had delivered. Caleb Turner received the video. No name attached, no trail leading back to me. But it didn't matter. The fallout had already begun. At 8:16 a.m., Jessica called me. Twice. Then again. I ignored every ring. At 8:43, she showed up at my door. I opened it and stood there, arms crossed, back straight. She looked like hell, red eyes, hair a mess, holding her phone in one hand and betrayal in the other. You leaked the video to Caleb, she said, her voice trembling, not with fear, but with rage. He fired me. I didn't blink. You should have been fired a long time ago. You don't get it, she hissed. You ruined me. No, I said, stepping forward. You ruined yourself. I just stopped protecting the mess. Her lip quivered. Blaze knows. He's coming for you. I leaned in, voice low. Let him. I'm not hiding. And I'm not scared. Jessica's voice cracked. He said he's going to burn everything. Let him try. I handed her a flash drive, the same one she saw last night, but now with something new on it. What's this? She asked, cautiously. Insurance, I said. Every file, every message, every name tied to Blaze's blackmail scheme. You're going to walk it into the police department. And you're going to confess your part in it. She blinked. Are you serious? You want redemption? Start with truth. She stared at the flash drive like it weighed 1,000 pounds. They'll arrest me. Maybe. Maybe not. But it's the only way you walk away with anything resembling a soul left. I started to close the door. Then she asked something I didn't expect. Did you ever actually love me? I paused, then said, yes. That's why this hurts so much. She nodded slowly, finally understanding. And I shut the door. That was the last time I saw Jessica. 3 weeks later, I got a call from Matt. Blaze was arrested last night. FBI involvement. Turns out your little data dump shook loose a whole network. Jessica turned in the files. Confessed to her part. She might get a deal. I let the words sink in. I should have felt triumphant. But all I felt was free. Today, I live somewhere else. New city. New job. Nobody here knows me as the guy whose wife burned down his life for some cheap thrill. I work. I run. I ride in the mornings. And I sleep without waking up in a sweat. Sometimes I think about Jessica, not with bitterness, but with clarity. She wasn't a tragedy. She was a warning. You don't love someone by saving them from themselves. You love them by knowing when to walk away and never looking back. So, if you're reading this or watching this and you've been lied to, betrayed, broken, don't wait for closure. Be your own. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Just walk. And never answer when they come knocking again.